Sure.
Breaking news, guys. Breaking news.
Well, you've always wanted to say that.
Yeah.
How does it? We have finally hit the status where we can break news, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
broken
I
wind
spent an
for a
entire
long time.
life of breaking wind, and now it's time to move
Why
on
is
to
it?
bigger
I
and
set
better
you up,
things.
and you both did the same exact joke poorly.
Well, mine was much better than his.
Anywho, industry news, guys. We're going to give you some insight. Disappointing news happened, 2 months ago. It was announced that a legendary brand, especially in the banjos and mandolins and affordable guitar market, was going away. And rumors swirled.
Done.
It was tariffs. It was economy. It was management. It was everything.
It was all
under
of it.
the sun. But the overall story, and I was on a lot of especially the banjo forums, really upset that the Recording King and on mandolin forums, the Loar mandolin was
the parent
no
company
more.
Music Link, which encompassed many brands, including the Loar, Recording King, Guardian Cases,
Johnson.
Johnson, a few other brands like that. But anyway, they were always kind of a provider of quality instruments, affordable instruments that were in the traditional vein.
Yeah, and we've carried Recording King since our first week in business. I think I was the first brand outside of Eastman that we brought into the shop.
Yep.
We did a lot with the Dirty 30s guitars, especially when they first came out. The banjos, they had the
really
Johnson
excelled
banjos.
the
RD6.
Did you end up with one of
sixes
those
and
Johnson
eights?
banjos? It was just like an incredible deal when
I
they were blowing
don't.
those
I've
out.
actually got one of the Resonator guitars. That was one of the first ones engraved by Greg Rich. By the way,
then one of our first NAMM shows, we got to know Greg and the impact he was having on the banjo designs. So that really successful at building some instruments that there was a need for in the market, and I think that's why there was such disappointment when the news was announced. And we kind of got the news again. This is one of those things where breaking news didn't come from the manufacturer. It was one of the endorsed artists that just posted something on his Facebook. Hey guys, I got really disappointed news today that Recording King is no more. And everybody's like, what? I didn't hear that. And even Greg Rich posted later, I haven't been told this yet, but apparently that news got broken.
When the news was broken, when the official statement came out, just to be clear, they were hoping to take a hiatus, get caught up on some past due invoices, from our understanding. That's what they stated on their thing. Make everybody whole, and hopefully restart up as Music Link, and hopefully 2.0, and hopefully be free and clear of all the obstacles that was making it hard for them to do the things that they should do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that didn't seem to be able to be the case.
Well, that was going to be. Let's break that down for a second. That was going to be impossible to make the case.
At least difficult.
At that moment,
like
we were running on Chinese tariffs, 145% tariffs. Nobody was shipping anything.
Yeah.
There was no way to really.
It's hard to catch up when you don't have the product
any
to sell.
Catch up to happen, right?
Agreed. So they were in a tough spot.
And we were even, as a retailer, and we were thinking of other retailers. Like with us, we are pretty diverse with the different brands we carry, but it definitely fit the spot price-wise of a really good quality instrument. We've, on this channel, we have talked about some of the issues we've had with Recording King and the Loar mandolins and things that we think they can improve on. They came here and actually visited with us, and we spent a good week.
We were in talks and working
helping
with
develop and improve
Lots of good people worked there.
But we were talking about what are we going to do now? What fills this void if Recording King is no more, if the Loar mandolins are no more? What other options are there out there? And we were thinking of other dealers that were almost very heavily invested in Recording King and the Loar. How are they going to react to this? What is their sales channel going to be now?
So
very disruptive.
That brings us to now, and it's taken us.
So this is the breaking news.
Yeah, to break the news, it took us this long. Way to go, guys!
Should I read?
Way
the
to bury the
you
lead.
do some backstory.
No, I don't need to read the lead. I think we just need to say it.
Okay,
they've been acquired.
Yes,
Recording King and Loar, from my understanding, the two brands have been acquired by St. Louis Music, which is the parent company behind Alvarez.
Correct.
Our good friend Chris Meikle, who owns CEO. I don't know.
He's the COO and executive vice president of St. Louis Music,
and also extremely involved in Alvarez, the relaunching of Alvarez when they reacquired it.
We haven't released that yet, but we did a long conversation with him where he was talking about almost this sort of situation where he went into Alvarez, went to the manufacturing and found areas to improve and make the guitar what it is today, what interested us in finally carrying Alvarez. So it's kind of exciting news that he's going to do similar stuff with Recording King and the
We
Loar.
kind of knew it was going to happen. To be honest with you, we kind of had talks with them and actually saw the writing on the wall as far as what they might be able to do.
I think the week they were here filming stuff was the week that Recording King got announced as officially their announcement came out.
So anyway, what are our thoughts on this? Well,
I think
try
I
to keep this point.
gave it a little lead on what I thought mine are. I'm excited.
I think it's incredible. I think it's a good thing. From the history that Chris has done, Alvarez is kind of a new brand to us, so we're still kind of discovering the cool stuff about it. Mm-hmm. And he gave us a lot of the history when he was here.
Correct.
And what he did with that brand is pretty amazing.
It's what Recording King needs,
Yeah,
I think.
exactly what Recording King needs, in my opinion.
It's a really good product that needs somebody in there that can make it a great product.
Well,
They did great things with banjos. Like what they did with the banjos, barring some QC issues that, we love that brand and the people that work there, but there were major QC issues that we're still dealing with today.
Yeah.
Like literally today, we're still dealing with a Recording King QC issue that is kind of get us in the bind, finish issue. So barring that, they did great job on banjos. They're doing really good stuff on mandolins. The guitars, which is the biggest discussion we had when they were here with Ashley and their representative, Jim, the guitars needed a lot of work.
And we said this in a lot of reviews. The finish was too thick. Some of the necks and stuff didn't feel as comfortable as a lot of the competition. Maybe the tops, and on the mandolins, the tops were too thick. A lot of those things that I just think needed refined. I think there's an opportunity now for that to happen.
Can I back up to what what I think on the brand, just a hair? The brand was great when it released. I think Blue Ridge and Recording King, at that time Johnson, came out swinging with specs that were above what everybody else could do at those price points.
Was Blue Ridge under the...
Blue Ridge was not part of that same deal, but it was part of that same
time period.
Push of these newer, different style builds, higher end, better specs. I hope you do. I think I think those all did great, but I think the market continued to change, and the quality didn't keep up with what it was. They were
didn't keep up with the competition.
Well, the competition came in. That's the thing. More people came and did it better.
And I think this gives it the opportunity for those things to catch up, and that's where I'm excited. You are correct. Our problem was not with what the products were. It was the problem was the consistency of said products
and the refinement of those things.
Exactly.
That was our biggest thing. Like you watch our video we did Eastman versus Recording King. Man, spec by spec, Recording King was
should have killed it. Yeah,
they were winning.
Absolutely.
I mean, at a price point, but the refinement, the fine details, and that's the thing that Chris excels at. He took the Alvarez brand and he talked to us about the amount of time he put into just refining the finishes on those guitars, and he did it very well. And those guitars are great for the price point, even up to the entry level Alvarez. They do incredible stuff, so I'm really excited about the prospect of him bringing that to
Here's the best part about the excitement of that, and what you're saying is we already had this conversation with Chris when we found out about this. We talked directly with Chris. Chris said something that I think is really important here, which is he went and inspected all of the inventory that was coming over after this acquisition, and none of the guitars passed QC. Now, I know that may sound harsh, and I hope I'm not going to get in trouble for that, but he said it, and he'll probably back that up, which is probably the same things we would have said, and we've had issues with this.
With our rep with Recording King, he says, I don't think you guys want that model because you're going to send a lot of them back. Like they knew that we were going to be very selective about which ones we did pass, and even then, we still have some issues that it's like, man, do we send this one back, or is this kind of the quality
discuss
to expect
here
from this brand?
Also is the reputation of that brand was it
far surpassed what its actual was.
Trying not to be
I think you had to say it literally that way. It was.
We were good friends with all those guys, and I don't want to slight them in any way because they did great things, but their reputation far surpassed their quality.
Yeah.
And at least that consistency.
The consistency, I guess you could say, but those instruments have a great reputation, and that's why they're in our stores. We had these issues with QC. But we would every day get, why don't you do this? Why don't you cover this? Why don't you review these instruments? And it's like, we love them, but There's so many
I
issues.
think we
with
were
it, and
always
that's why
holding
we
out
see
hope
it.
that they were going to get better, and not even just hold out hope. We had conversations. We went out
It
to
was,
dinner.
it
We
was
said,
going to happen.
I want to be blunt with you guys. Here's the things that are holding the brand back, and if you can work on these and improve them, I think it's going to make all the difference in the world. I think this is an exciting opportunity for that to happen.
Guys, this just in. Most of you people that are watching this right now are not subscribed to the channel,
More
and that
breaking
is
news.
a absolute tragedy.
It is.
More breaking news. What do you
Sad
have?
news on the world stage, folks. The Acoustic Shop has viewers that don't subscribe.
Okay. But we're out to fix that right now. You may be watching this down the road, but for this moment, we are not currently at 75,000 subscribers yet, and we are on the road to 75. So get ready for that. We're going to be doing a huge giveaway to get us to 75. When we reach 75,000 subscribers, we're giving away $3,500 worth of our favorite things. All you got to do is look at our channel. Go to the video that says the giveaway. It says something like Road to 75, our favorite things giveaway, something like that. Look it up, search it, comment on that video. And if you're commented on that video, once we reach that 75,000, we're giving you something.
right.
Maybe not you, but you.
Well, it's a drawing.
You. No, back in the back. You're the one that's going to win.
That's it.
So watch it, subscribe to our channel, and comment. We love you guys, and back to our regular scheduled programming right after this.
Now can I express my concerns?
Yes.
But none of it works.
My concern is, I think that you're right. I think the guitars are automatically going to come out a whole lot better. My concern is, and this is what I hope for you, if you're watching, any of the folks over at Alvarez and, or it's
Louis
not
Music.
Alvarez, I guess St. Louis Music, if you're watching, get to know banjos and mandolins and take the same time.
Nobody
you
wants
have.
to get to know a banjo player. Nobody wants to
Well,
be an expert at banjo.
I'm gonna be
clear
absolute-
and transparent. Hopefully with Chris, and hopefully I don't ruffle any feathers here. But Chris is he knows what he likes
With
with
guitars?
the Alvarez especially. He knows, and he's very, very. It took him a while. The Laureate series was, from my understanding, was a bit of a arm twisting to get him to that
more of a traditional.
traditional side of it,
yeah.
because he believes in what Alvarez is and what Yairi is, and so it might be a little bit tough for him to look at the traditional market and say, you know what,
But I
what's
think
good
it's-
for Alvarez isn't going to be good for this traditional style.
And in
guitar.
talking to him, he already recognizes
Yes.
that this is
I
going
hope-
to be a traditional line, and I think you're right there.
And he's even indicated he would like to consult with us and other traditional oriented retailers or players to make sure that he is keeping that tradition alive. So that's encouraging.
My thing for all you banjo and mandolin players, and you guys are crazy. I mean, crazy. I think guitar players are crazy, but man, banjo players, holy smokes. I want to see them put the same amount of detail that they put into Alvarez into the banjos and mandolins. And when that happens,
big opening.
you guys are about to get something that explodes. So the worry is that they don't put somebody in there that really knows those two.
From talking to
instruments.
Chris, though, and from my understanding of how this is going down, they still have a lot of the partnerships on that side of that were there. That guys like Greg Rich set up and the guys at Music League set up. Like
I
they've
hope
been
they
doing
do.
it for over 10 years over there, right? And collaborating.
manufacturers.
Yeah, the manufacturing of all that stuff. Like Greg, the first time he was there, how many years ago was that? When they brought in Greg and Recording King and all that.
Probably 20 years ago.
Was it 20 something? Okay.
It's 20 years ago.
Been
at
a while.
least. Yeah.
So they've got all that behind them, and I think Chris understands that. And the things that we're discussing are just those next step finishing details, getting the finishes right on all this stuff. It's not about the parts. They've already sourced the parts. We know the banjos.
Might be bringing
There's not
together
much to do
the
there.
best of
Well,
both worlds.
let me take
Quality
you.
control.
I have a second set to that, and I disagree with you only in what I know about this, which is overseas manufacturing is great, and you can get to a great level. But where the secondary magic comes is in the setup once they get here.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about that Americans are the only ones that can do the
they're
setup.
gonna get-
I want to back that up and make sure you understand that what happens after manufacturing, it has to take a boat to get over here. And there's a lot of work that has to be done to take
It's like 3 or 4
imported
weeks, 6 weeks on the water.
imported instruments to another level. And I know for a fact that the teams at Music Link were trained specifically on banjo and mandolin setup.
Yeah.
And that so far is a space that I don't think and I could be wrong, that St. Louis music is quite as prepared for.
So
there was a
mandolin
lot
and
of
banjo
work.
luthiers,
That's
you
what I'm
got a
saying.
job opening and opportunity.
Yeah.
John raised one concern. He thought, mine is, can prices stay where they were, or was that the best quality you could get with the finishes and the speed of production to keep the prices low?
Time will tell.
Can you make those improvements and not have to now put it back into another price point that we still have this gap that's missing?
I am not psychic, but I'm going to predict that they'll be able to do it because they've done it with Alvarez. They have their price points, they have their levels, and that's something cool that they probably could bring. Is there's going to be maybe a more elite side of Recording King?
See, that's what I'm excited about. I told you what my concerns are, but you just nailed something that I think still has to happen, which there was still a big gap. I'm going to just use the banjos as an example. There was still a big gap between the high end of where Recording King left off and where the low end of American banjo makers were at. There was still a large gap. I mean, we went from like $2,000 to $4,500. That's a fairly significant gap. And maybe there's going to be an opportunity to close some of that space. And
mandolins
hopefully,
also?
And
Yep,
mandolins
mandolins is
as
a big
well.
opening.
I mean, huge gap
And
there
guitars.
too.
So what we're all saying is this is
the
exciting
future
news.
looks bright.
People that were just despondent that Recording King banjos and Loar mandolins were going away can now take a sigh of relief and actually maybe have some optimism that things are even going to get better than they were.
And can I speak to our bluegrass
No,
friends out there who?
cannot.
Well,
You lost all credibility with those people a long time ago.
I probably did. No, speaking to even our opinions. So Alvarez, the new brand to us, right?
Yep.
We overlooked Alvarez, and
Yeah.
we've admitted that, and we've undervalued it. Great brand, and bluegrassers. I know you do this. It's not a Morton. That do love Recording
them
King
all.
and all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes,
you
I
know
do.
the person.
I know.
There's Blue Ridge. There's Recording King, and then there's Morton. And
Banjos even worse.
you know the price point where you know how this works. You understand. And banjos, Recording King had a great name. Just don't be despaired that somebody named St. Louis Music, who makes Alvarez Guitars, is taking the lead here, because I really believe that he gets it.
Yeah.
He's understanding
it's a
what's
significant
happening.
investment. He's not doing it just
Yeah.
for fun. So
And
I think
I-
they have plans.
I think it can only go up from here. I think they're going to take it to the next level. What was already greatly started by people that knew what they were doing is only going to get better.
There's
Agreed.
new life in the Recording King and Loar brands.
You ready to break some more news?
Yeah.
John sucks.
That's not breaking news.
Nobody likes the J run. And Jeremy,
I like it.
your truck bed is not 8 foot. This is from a
We'll
prior
measure
discussion.
that. Let's go
It's
measure.
a prior discussion that
All
we
right.
had.
Thanks, guys, for sticking through this breaking news. Recording King and the Loar. Rumors of their demise are highly exaggerated.
Straight from the Daily Planet.
Goodbye.
If you are interested in a little bit of the history of Recording King, we did a fun little podcast with Greg Rich, the kind of the brains behind the operation at Music Link back when they first got started down this road. Greg has a sordid and historic history. Sordid and storied history in acoustic instruments, Gibson all the way to Recording King and all the things that he's done there. So
Big impact on the industry.
Big impact on the industry. If you want to learn more about that and why we think the brand was great, and check this out. It's a podcast with Greg Rich.